Sustainable development is the idea that organizations should pursue growth while protecting the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It asks us to look beyond immediate results and consider the broader, long-term effects of business decisions. The central concept is balance, creating value today without compromising tomorrow. In the context of business environments and concepts, this framework helps us understand how organizations can grow responsibly, remain resilient, and account for the consequences of their choices over time. This slide outlines 4 learning objectives for our discussion of sustainable development. First, I'll define the term and explain its core meaning and origin. Next, we'll examine the 3 pillars of sustainability: economic, social, and environmental. We'll then connect these principles to business contexts, focusing on how they shape real organizational decisions. Finally, we'll recognize the trade-offs involved, especially the tensions among economic growth, social equity, and ecological health. Together, these objectives provide a practical framework for understanding sustainability and applying it thoughtfully. This is where the modern idea of sustainable development took shape. In 1987, the Brundtland Commission, formerly known as the World Commission on Environment and Development, introduced the concept in its landmark report, Our Common Future. At its core, the definition connects present decisions with future consequences, meeting today's needs without limiting future generations' ability to meet theirs. That principle gives sustainability its broader meaning. It is not only about protecting the environment, but also about balancing human needs across time. This definition brings together 2 responsibilities that must be addressed at the same time. First, we need to respond to urgent challenges in the present, including poverty, hunger, and inequality, with particular attention to the world's most vulnerable populations. At the same time, our decisions must protect the resources, ecosystems, and opportunities that future generations will depend on. The central idea is balance, improving lives today without limiting the ability of people born tomorrow to thrive. Sustainable development depends on 3 interdependent pillars: environmental, economic, and social. Environmental sustainability means protecting ecosystems, reducing pollution, conserving resources, and addressing climate change. Economic sustainability focuses on resilient, profitable growth that creates jobs, encourages innovation, and distributes wealth without exhausting the resources we rely on. Social sustainability ensures equity, human rights, access to education and healthcare, and strong community well-being. The key point is balance. No single pillar can stand alone, because lasting sustainability requires progress across all 3 dimensions at the same time. This slide shows where sustainability truly takes shape, not within one pillar, but at the intersection of the economy, society, and the environment. A solution is viable when it balances economic and environmental needs, equitable when it connects social and environmental priorities, and bearable when it aligns society with the economy. But the strongest outcome is sustainable, all 3 pillars aligned. That means every business decision should be evaluated through all 3 lenses at the same time, rather than optimizing one while overlooking the others. Sustainable development has become more than an ethical aspiration. It is a strategic imperative for business. The strongest organizations integrate sustainability into everyday operations, where it can create value in 3 important ways. First, it strengthens risk management by helping companies anticipate regulatory, reputational, and climate-related challenges. Second, it drives innovation, encouraging new products, services, and business models. And third, it builds stakeholder value, because investors, customers, and employees increasingly support companies with credible ESG commitments. Together, these factors can contribute to stronger long-term performance and resilience. The Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, provide a shared global framework for addressing some of the world's most urgent challenges. Adopted by the United Nations in 2015, the 17 goals call for action to end poverty, protect the planet, and promote prosperity for everyone by 2030. For businesses, the SDGs are more than a reporting requirement. They help organizations connect strategy with broader social and environmental priorities, while also revealing opportunities to develop products, services, and markets that contribute to sustainable development. Sustainable development is rarely frictionless. Leaders must navigate real tensions rather than assume every priority can be optimized at once. Profit versus planet means short-term cost pressures can compete with investments in cleaner technologies and sustainable sourcing. Efficiency versus equity raises a similar concern. A low-cost supply chain may come at the expense of fair wages or safe working conditions. Finally, growth versus resource limits reminds us that economic expansion occurs within finite planetary boundaries, making circular economy thinking increasingly important. The goal is not perfection, but more deliberate, balanced decisions. This slide shows how organizations progress from basic compliance to genuine sustainability leadership. They often begin by meeting minimum legal and regulatory requirements. The next step is strategy, embedding sustainability into business planning rather than treating it as a separate initiative. Integration then connects daily operations and processes with ESG goals. At the leadership stage, companies drive change beyond their own organization and report measurable impact. The most important shift is moving from a reactive response to regulation toward sustainability as a source of differentiation and long-term value. The key takeaway is that sustainability is defined by balance, meeting today's needs while protecting future generations across environmental, economic, and social dimensions. It's also a business imperative, improving risk management, innovation, and stakeholder trust. Finally, trade-offs are unavoidable, so leaders must balance growth, equity, and ecological limits thoughtfully.